Whoa. All right. Zoom just did it yell at you too that the meeting's
It
being
did yell
recorded?
at me. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's, I
You
mean, I
can
kind of
tell
get
you
why they're,
don't. You can tell that you don't work like at a regular day job company kind of thing, because like
yeah.
I hear this message constantly.
Oh, you do? Well, that's somewhat new though. We've done that. I've recorded a video a while ago and I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true. Yeah, it is.
They're
It is
all over the
fairly new.
privacy stuff now. Like,
Yeah.
can't, yeah, I get it. I get why they're doing it, but I hadn't, you're right. I hadn't heard that before. Anyway, hello everyone.
Anyway.
This is Jess and I's pairing stream. We pair Tuesdays and Thursdays pretty much most weeks for,
Yeah. Yep.
gosh, a couple months now. Mostly working on the workbench, of course, but figured we record these and kind of lump them into this week's, you know, PHPUnit to Pest converter, building that, because Jess has definitely been helping with lots of the shift stuff lately, and it's also cool to kind of see us work together, see pairing in general. So
Yeah.
let's jump in. So kind of the way we do it sometimes when we're hardcore coding is, one of us will drive and the other one will kind of co-chair or co-pilot, whatever you want to call it. And I used to ping pong a lot back and forth at my kind of hardcore extreme programming team a couple of years ago. So we're gonna try to do a little bit of that today. We're basically, I'm gonna write the test to drive one of these out. Jess is gonna do the implementation to make it pass, and then she'll write a test and I'll make it pass, and we'll kind of just ping pong back and forth. So we'll see if we can get through these first two. This one might be a little tricky, but we can definitely get the test written for it and get it started. I think this one's gonna reveal though that all this isn't as easy as we might think. But this individually is easy, but yeah, this might let us know kind of like how we're going to go about building some of the rest of these for the week. So, but this one though is definitely straightforward. We've done this 100 times with some
Yeah.
other shifts. So let's go
Thanks
ahead
for
and
that.
get this one going. Now, yesterday I was kind of practicing TDD at like the hardcore nano cycle. I wouldn't type any implementation until there was like some kind of failing test, even if it was just a syntax or a reference error in PHP. I'm not going to do that so hardcore today because I want to demonstrate more of us pairing than about
Mhm.
kind of the nano cycle of TDD. We're still going to write the test first, but may not be strictly hardcore TDD. So I just want to write this so I have a reference to the test I'm about to generate.
Yeah.
So we'll say shifts or shifts, PHP is where we're putting this one. And then we have the pest converter. So that's kind of where everything's going right now. So what we need to do instead is change this to tasks, PHP pest, and then we'll call this, or well, this is the pest converter, I suppose, and dependencies. Did I spell that right? Dependencies.
Dependencies. Looks good to me.
Seems right. All right, so first things first, I'm curious if PHP Storm is going to pick up that
You
pest
need
converter.
the class on the end of it.
I need the class on the end of it?
On the end of the string you typed
Oh,
in. You've
yeah,
got
sorry. I
the
was just
yeah.
trying to generate this guy real fast.
Ah,
Yes, you're
gotcha.
right. I
Okay.
just wanted to get rid of those squigglies first.
Gotcha.
Cool. Okay, I'm not going to do anything else with this for now. I just want to be able to have that reference, so I'm writing tests. So that's the only little shortcut I'm going to take there.
Cool.
So let's now go over into tests and tasks and PHP, and we're going to make a new, I'm just going to make a new PHP file for right now. And we're going to do, what do we call this? Pest converter / dependencies test.php. Oh, of course. What's wrong with you?
Do you need it to be a forward slash?
Yes, thank you. It's early. It's early for me. I was just telling
All good.
Jess, like, Izzy has not been sleeping well, as those who were on the live stream yesterday noticed. So she's not doing it very well in the mornings either. We think she's probably just a little bit sick. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, I'm gonna steal the top of this just so we have a little bit of a start for one of these test cases since I didn't use the smart template. And we'll change this to Pest Converter. And this will be the Pest Converter dependencies. That's what we're testing. You know, I used to use this covers a lot, and then someone was telling me that covers actually marks that file as covered in a coverage report.
Oh, like it bypasses the built-in coverage and
Kind
is
of,
just like,
yeah. They were saying that.
yeah,
I never really ended up going back and testing it, but I was originally using C just as a
C.
reference.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that anytime I just change those back to just avoid that. So there
Yeah.
was a point in time when I was like, oh, covers, that's perfect. That's test and it covers this and it
Yep.
gives you the same linkage, but it actually apparently in some coverage report tools may mark that class as entirely covered, even though
Gotcha.
it might not be. So anyway, change those back to C is the point. So dependencies test. Okay, so we have everything we need here, I think. And again, just to borrow from some of these other ones, we pretty much always mock out shift and subject and all these things. So I'm just going to borrow this setup to avoid writing it, but we'll go through it for the audience. All right, bring all those things in. Okay, so basically every test that we have for like a task ends up being, where is this? Here we go. Why is that not imported? Oh, it killed it. That's funny. I thought I had that there. There we go. Okay, so anyway, any test that we do for a task, which this is going to be one of those tasks that does some action as part of the shift, we kind of have subject, that's just basic test naming convention there. And then we're going to mock out the shift and log facades that are basically built into the shift engine. And this allows us to stub all the methods that we're going to end up doing. And then ultimately, we'll just make a new dependencies there. So this is everything we need in the setup. Just mock those out and then make up a new one for subject. So in our super simple test case, we can say something like it adds pest and, or well, the super simple test case is going to be it adds pest.
Okay.
And we could be strict here as a dev dependency if we want. I cannot spell dependency today. Oh my God. Somebody help. Dependency.
Dependency.
There we go.
That's it. Got it.
Wow.
Don't
The,
forget
the curse,
the
the
annotations
curse
as
of
well.
programming. Okay, so we could say like this shift expects, and shift again is just this facade. It has all sorts, think of like Carbon, the library. It has all sorts of methods in here that kind of help us do things with shift, just like Carbon has hundreds of methods that help you do things with dates. Very same concept. So we have something in here called read composer file. And that's just going to go find the composer file for the project, read its contents, return the array. It's just JSON, so it's underneath, it's all just like a JSON decode kind of thing. It's going to have no args, kind of not necessary to say that, but we'll do it. And then and return, and this is where we can basically say something like, really in this case, we're kind of returning nothing. There's no special thing here for in the very base case where we would need to do anything for pest. Like this is just the straight old add pest as a dependency to the project.
Yeah.
So we could technically read, an empty composer file and it should do the right thing. So again, I'm just going to write a bunch of tests right now and we're going to pass it off to Jess here in 5 minutes or so and see it all
Cool.
pass. So when we do this subject perform, or well, sorry, we need to write the actual expectation for the next. So we could have something like, I think we have write composer file.
Let me find it. Yeah.
And this case, it would have with, and we would send the data that we would expect to write to the composer file. So like the new contents. And so in this case, we would expect there to now be a required dev, and this would be pest. I'm pretty sure. Oh, sorry, pest PHP pest. All right, let's get the right package name. And that's going to be a sub-array. And this is where yesterday, when we were working on the pest converter, we started hard coding some of these things, like the latest version. So in this case, it would be nice to say something like 1.16, for example. And let's close out that other bit there. All right, cool. So that's really what that one should do. It should just dump in pest in require dev, and there it is. Pretty straightforward stuff.
Nice.
Okay, let's do one, since this is mostly going to be targeted at Laravel applications, even though, again, it's going to be able to run for any PHP project. Let's write one more test case, I think, that's going to say, like, hey, if you're Laravel and we sniff out that you have a Laravel dependency, let's go ahead and, of course, add the pest plugin for Laravel as well.
Cool.
So I'm just going to copy
And
this again. Go
don't
ahead.
forget to add the test annotation.
Oh, yes. Good call.
Before you start copy pasting it everywhere.
Yes. I already messed up. See, this is why we don't copy paste. But again, I'm on low sleep, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Plus, I want to get a little farther. I feel like I got like cut off yesterday, right when we were starting to make one of these, and it was like adds pest and Laravel plugin for Laravel projects. Cool.
Goodness.
All right, so now we can say something like, hey, require, whoops. If you have a dependency of Laravel framework, and this doesn't really matter here, so we'll just say something like, 8.0 or something. So if you have that, then we would expect you to also receive, I'm going to break this down and format it here in a second, but this was the pest plugin. Now this one, I don't know what the version of it is. So we'll just write one, and then you can clean this up on your side, or if you want to look it up and tell me what it is real quick. I'm just going to throw in 1.1 for giggles, and let's format this so it's a little bit easier to read. And you know what? I just want to add a little log for fun here. So I'm going to say this log should have received. Let's add a little thing here for event, and we should receive something like project contained
Did you do
Laravel.
guess 1.1?
I did.
Spot on.
Nailed it. Yes. So dependency. There we go. Learning how to spell again. So I think we should log out some analytics here for like the event, or sorry, for the fact that we like found a Laravel project dependency, just so we kind of know, like, for me, I would want to know from a shift perspective, like how many Laravel projects are doing it, and then how many like just generic PHP projects are doing it. So this little tidbit in the logs, if you've seen some of my past talks or blog posts on this, Shift has like just some really tiny logs that it kind of puts out these little like events or tidbits of information. It's all just kind of generic like this, but it's really more serves as like a super simple way to do some analytics on like what kind of automation is firing when a shift gets run.
Yeah.
So I think this will be important. And let's just look at one more thing here. What is mock? So they've got a special mock. Somebody yesterday on a live stream was saying, like, make sure to add, other stuff. So like Livewire, for example. So I'm just wondering if we should write.
We can probably get a bit clever and automatically add a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Like Faker is going to be interesting. We can probably detect if they're using Faker and add that.
Does it have its own? Oh, it brings in like. a special little thing.
So like that might be a case of if they've got any tests that are using the like Laravel's faker
Yeah, you know
traits
what?
or
I think I totally agree about these. I was looking, I wish the nav would like stay sticky. That would be nice. So Livewire, I'm kind of looking for like root dependencies, I guess. Like I totally agree we should do the one for like faker and time and mock, and we could add that kind of later as a separate
yeah.
task down the road to do, like you said, scan in there and see if we're doing this faker anywhere, and if so, then include the plugin or and convert those. So that could be like a
Yeah.
standalone task. But at this high level, I think Livewire makes sense, and I'm just looking to see if there are any more. It doesn't look like it. It looks like the rest are a little bit more about like using the
like
tests or running the tests.
yeah, because the Livewire one, like we'd have to actually, for it to be worthwhile, we'd have to update their existing tests to use that helper in place of some other thing.
Hmm,
Um,
that's true.
so we probably need to have a look at some Livewire projects and see the way that they would be tested with PHPUnit
That's
to
true. I
see
don't
like
have any.
where that would go in. Because there's no point us installing it if we're not going to like
Not going
leverage
to
it
use it.
somehow for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I think we'll make that we can make these like separate tasks later. So just so we don't forget, I'm going to go back down here and just do a little like, yeah, well, look at that. We already have it. Add additional plugins
Oh, there you
for
go.
other frameworks. Or let's just make this more generic though. Add additional plugins used by tests, and this would be something like Faker, Livewire,
Money, all that
etc.
sort of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we kind of already have that. So I think this is a good enough start. So I should probably see that it runs. So let's fire up Docker. Let me just make sure the test runs and fails, of course, and
Yep.
then I will send it to you. I don't have any crazy syntax errors or anything.
Yeah. You want to give me a broken test, but like not
Yeah,
like
not broken
that.
because I wrote it wrong, but
Yeah.
failing. I want to give you a
Yeah. Fail.
failing test.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
So while we're waiting, we'll just make sure I'll lint it. All good there. All right, and while Docker's firing up, I will go ahead and just do a git add -p on some of these stuff I changed. So we actually have a first task here. Awesome. And just a little comment update there. Tiny little cleanup there I noticed when we were copying from that other file. And then we'll add the other ones. So git commit -m. I'll just call this whip for adding
Spell that word again.
dependencies. I think I got it.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to trust that it is going to run, but I will just make sure. Get a little drink here while we're waiting on good old Docker to fire up. All right, vendor bin PHPUnit. Call to undefined perform. That looks good enough for me.
Yep.
All right, git push origin. Whoops. Get out of Docker land. Bye-bye, Docker. Git push origin head. All right, that's a PHPUnit pest branch. I'm going to stop my share.
Alrighty.
Ping pong into Jess.
Start my share.
I'm going to take a back seat and
All right.
let Jess make these pass. I see your screen.
Alrighty. So let's pull that stuff in. Excellent. So I'm just going to move this Zoom toolbar. There we go. All right. So we've got our test. This is the pest converter test. So we want the then here we go. Now I'm going to do it. Dependencies test.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of E's.
Yeah.
A lot of E's and a lot of D's. You're like, I feel like I threw an extra one in there. All right, I'm seeing the same stuff.
As
Cool.
you. So dependencies. Dependencies. Nice. Alrighty. So from memory, well, okay, if we want to do this true TDD, we can probably just create our perform.
Oh yeah, yesterday I was actually like doing a cert instance of to prove
Yeah,
that
because these are
that was
normally
good.
an instance of task, right?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can. I think we can. Go ahead. It's okay.
All right. That's the one.
So this shift task
Cool.
again is just a kind of a base level task that gives us
Yeah,
kind of the
exactly.
default methods that a
So
task
yeah,
would
what does that
have.
even? Yeah, and then it
It's an
implements
empty commit
a contract. Yeah.
and then kind of a no op, which just for the audience, like a no op is like a no operation. So if a task didn't perform any operation, that can be a special method where you can leave a comment that would automatically get put on the PR of like, hey, everything's clean, no changes were made.
Yeah. Alrighty, so if we go back to the test now and rerun that, we should have changed the error. Cool.
Nice.
So
So we're
this
not
one's
calling anything, we're
throwing
not
errors, yeah,
reading
because it hasn't
anything.
called
Yeah.
any of our stuff. So we should, in theory, then be able to start saying, so we want to use the shift facade. We want to read the composer file. So we can kind of save that as that.
Nice.
And then what I kind of, actually, let's see what the error is again. So that one down there is for the event call. So I'm going to ignore that one for
Yeah.
the time being. So now it's
Now we're not
expecting us to
writing it.
call write composer file. So straight away, I will write composer file and just pass it back in. So
Nice.
if we just run this individual test. Yeah, cool. So this is one of the things with like mocking
Yeah.
that gets a little bit nasty because in this case, we've called write composer file with the empty array, which is
Yeah.
not what it was expecting. So that's kind of something like we just have to know as a bit of knowledge that like it doesn't actually tell us what it expected and then what we sent it. It just told us what we sent it.
Yeah. It's a little bit annoying that it does that because it doesn't always do that. There are some things when you mock out, it'll show you like what you know, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see like what it expected and what it did, which it did. It is showing you what it wrote back, but it's kind of not helpful.
Yeah. So as like, the full TDD thing, I reckon we just make it pass
Yeah,
by saying
that one test
composer
case.
require dev pest PHP test is equal to, was it 1 point?
It's caret 1.16. Now we don't need to do this right now. You can just make it pass. But we should eventually leverage, that out of the pest converter, like use that as the canonical source instead of hard code it.
So, all right, so that test passed now. Oh, I hear
Izzy's
Izzy.
gonna join. This is a cameo appearance. Give me you. Give me you. Give me you. You want to be on TV? You're on
Hey,
TV.
sweetheart.
The whole world's seeing you. All right. Oh,
Her hair's like
he's
growing so
shy.
quick.
She's shy. Oh, okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? I got my headphones on. Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, you want the headphone? Don't turn me off. Okay. All right.
I know, put some lotion on it. I think she was itching earlier because her back's all scratched.
All right.
Anyway.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Cool. So that test passes, but it's not the best test because, it's not the best implementation, I should say. The test is fine.
Yeah. I'm okay with it
So
passing. Let's play on.
yeah, let's play on. That sounds good. All right, so it adds Pest and Laravel plugin for Laravel project. So this one should fail, and this one's failing. In this case, it's like truncating what we sent through.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
we just happen to know that we're not sending it through the Laravel plugin. So
Yeah. I think my expectation is actually wrong in that case. I didn't preserve the Laravel framework required part. I just wrote the expected required dev, so we should just bring that in.
We're not expecting it to remove Laravel. That would be
we don't want to remove
a
stuff.
very big faux pas.
Yeah.
So
I think we would have caught that, but still.
Yeah.
There's also there's one more thing I actually want this to do, so we can write this together here in a minute, but let's finish this one first.
Cool. So in this case, look, what I'm going to do is, and this is kind of like, sometimes with like TDD, it's like you kind of write like really naive code that you know is going to fail, but just to like see where the errors are. So in this case, if I write this in theory should get our second test passing, except for
Yeah.
that log entry at the bottom. So it doesn't do that, but it forces us to go and fix this test because this test will fail now because we're always adding that dependency.
Yeah.
So what I might do is I'll chuck in that log event. So let me think, where was the test expecting it? That's one of the problems with like heavy mocking as well is, well, I guess the order of things doesn't matter specifically. Like we could put it as long as it gets run anytime. So I'll just put it at the bottom for now. I want to say log event.
Can you tap the mic in front of you real quick?
Yeah.
I think
Can you
you're
hear
on
me
your
now?
other mic. I was wondering
No
because you're
way.
a little fainter than normal. You're fine. I mean, you're audible, but you're definitely not as loud as you normally would be.
Okay.
If you want to check it real quick.
Yeah, I'm just like, the settings in Zoom completely change when you're like sharing screen. So like it's completely unrecognizable.
Oh, that's weird.
It is. I'll have a quick peek. See, it's saying.
Oh, now I can't hear you at all.
How about
Maybe
now?
we shouldn't have messed with it.
We probably shouldn't have messed with it.
Oh, that's a lot better. Can you tap it?
That's a lot better.
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
You're back. All right, perfect. Yeah,
The
that's
volume
way
slider
better. I
was
mean,
down.
you were totally like I could totally hear you before, but it was definitely like I needed to be
Okay.
quiet to make sure to hear you. Now we're equal.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so now I can never remember exactly how this one goes. So
That's
I'm
it.
just
You got it.
gonna, I got it. All right, just need to import it. So let's test if this one runs. So that one runs now.
Sweet. But
This one fails.
together as a unit, they're not going to run yet.
Exactly.
As a whole.
Yeah. So that's where it kind of forces us now. And if we write like the naive code, we can pretty much say if is set, composer require Laravel framework. Just want to do that inside there. And I'll put that first. We can log the event first.
Nice.
All right. So rerun that test, run the whole thing. Sweet. So 2 tests, 5 sessions, all good. So that's kind of a fun way to like do TDD. Like, even though I knew that, I was going to have to write this if statement, sometimes letting the code drive it validates that it's the right mistake, like the right error.
Had we, in fairness, had we written not all the tests at first, had we written one at a time, you would have gotten there naturally, like on the way.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, but so it was good to see you play it out as if we wrote one test case at a time. So that's cool. So speaking of test cases, though, I did forget one more thing I think this should do, just as cleanup. So maybe after that very first test case, let's write one more, like before the Laravel stuff.
So the in here.
Yeah. Let's remove the PHPUnit dependency because it's defaulted by Pest. So Pest should control which version of PHP unit you're actually going to run. So let's just copy that one, but in there, throw in.
So in this case, we're going to have a require dev.
Yeah. Of PHPUnit, doesn't matter. 9.3 for giggles.
Is it PHPUnit? I think so.
Pretty sure it is.
What are we going to say? Just 9.0 as
That's
an
fine,
example. Yeah. Do you want me to put that all on one line to match that one?
It's whatever you want. We can format it later.
Yeah. I don't know.
So this is good. This is already the way you want it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So let's run that one. And this one fails. Again,
course.
the error is kind of a little bit tricky, but we should now be able to jump over to here. Now this one should be pretty straightforward because all we really need to do is just say unset composer require dev PHPUnit PHPUnit.
Nice.
And that's just going to do that always. So let's run the whole thing.
Cool.
We are green.
Now we could make the argument we should maybe put like PHPUnit in the Laravel test fixture just for giggles. You could copy that same line down if you want.
Yeah.
There's also the argument of like, keep your test focused on what you're trying to do, but like gives us a
Yeah.
nice little compound bit. Oh, it would actually be in the read one.
Oh,
and not
sorry.
the
Yeah,
write.
you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's where I would want to.
I think it's true to form though for Laravel since it does come with PHPUnit as a require dev
Yeah.
dependency. So I think this is a fair case to make that a little true to life.
Agreed. Yeah, the formatting's a little bit inconsistent.
And this should auto pass. So
yeah.
Sweet. All right, I consider that one done. You want to finish the whip and
Now-
then
Yeah, like should we remove mockery or anything like that at this point? I suppose not. That's kind of a later
No.
problem. Yeah. Alrighty,
Yeah,
so
I think that falls under the faker and mock and livewire stuff we talked about. We'll just make those like finalizing tasks that are just those nice little bonus things that Shift does that are kind of
Yeah.
like sweet.
kind of like implement the dependencies task.
Sure.
Sweet. So now the implementation like is still very brittle, like it's kind of hard coded and
Yeah. We
you know, there's a
could
little-
take some
little-
time to refactor, but like I think we know what the plan there is. And again, it's not like it's broken.
No.
It would just be annoying from my perspective that when Pest went to 1.20, right?
Mhm.
I would have to go in multiple places now and kind of instead of just that one kind of canonical registry
Yeah,
place that
exactly.
we had built yesterday. So
Yeah.
again, not a huge deal, but I will make that refactor. There is a version helper that we have that makes something like a tag, like it turns a tag into a constraint effectively.
Yeah. Yep.
So all I got to do is call that with the shift and it's good to go.
Nice. Alrighty. So
Yeah,
you want to take over?
rather go. No. You're going to take
No?
over. You're
Oh,
going
I'm
to
gonna
write
write
the
some
tests
tests.
now
Oh,
for
hell yeah.
the
Alright.
removing of class wrapper skeleton junk. And
Alright,
I'll try to make
so
it pass with the time we have left.
now I can probably get rid of
Yeah.
that because that is
Yeah.
that one.
Yes.
So let me just do a cheeky amend.
Oh
Go for that.
yeah. Just you and me working on it. Why not?
Exactly. All right. So this one will be, I guess, like class to script, right? Like you kind of already know.
Yeah, I was looking in the docs last night. I asked this on the live stream yesterday, like what's the right thing to call it? I think class to script makes sense from like we're going from a class-based file to like a PHP script. They call it test file in the docs a lot. So I just wonder if we should say like class to file.
Test file or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit funny because like
technically like class to script makes sense in my technical mind, but
yeah,
like
because when I hear class to file, I'm like, well, it already was a file. It's just a different.
sure,
type of
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, we'll leave it class to script, but I think I asked that yesterday, and so I think answering my question from yesterday, I think class to file
Gotcha.
probably would have been the term I was looking for.
Cool. So
Excuse me.
tasks, PHP.
Yeah, Pest Converter.
Converter. Class to script. That's just similar to that last one where we just create that little skeleton. All right. So what I might do is go to our dependencies test, and I'm just going to save this as test task PHP pest converter class to script test. And so now anywhere that says dependencies will become class 2 script.
Nice.
And
Look at them
then
go.
any of our existing tests. I'm just going to nuke them.
All right, then.
I think that is good. It's always a bit funny when I get like the little git diff markers.
Mm,
That's a new file. Cool.
sweet.
There we go. That's better. Alrighty. So this one's kind of going to have like a lot of fixtures and stuff, I'm imagining.
Yeah, I think for the purposes of not only the demo, but just I would just make like a straight up like here's the fixture and here's what it ends up looking like. Like you could either do a data provider or just write a test that finds 2 test files and one has maybe some uses statements and one doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would probably just do the latter, just in one big test.
Yeah, just like we can just keep adding to it as we need to. All right.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it converts classes to scripts.
We could be a little more specific, I think, from a documentation. I would just say like it removes PHPUnit class wrapping or something.
It replaces PHPUnit.
Sure.
Class wrapping.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really, yeah, what does it replace it with? Nothing?
It doesn't really replace it. That's what I was saying, remove. But
yeah. But are we saying that this test is, the fixture for this is just going to be purely for that one case?
What other case is there? What else is this
Fair
script
point.
doing?
Well, is this going to do like changing all the public functions and stuff?
No.
No.
If we go back to the Pest Converter real quick, you can see like underneath there's like test cases, test lifecycle methods, data provider. Like there's a lot of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
The unfortunate thing is, unlike some other shifts, like this is more like the Tailwind converter, where maybe we're doing like 3 or 4 things at once and then making like one large commit that's like converted to Tailwind.
Yeah. So it's like after each task run, that's in like a really dirty state. Okay.
Yeah, the user will never see it, but from our perspective, like we might even find here in a minute that we need to, maybe we can't change it in line. Maybe we need to like make like a .pest, or something temporarily.
Yeah.
But either way, we're going to need these fixtures. So let's start writing those. And then when I get in the implementation, we can figure out if that's true or not.
So in terms of like the mocking, like, do you reckon I should kind of guess what you're going to need to do? Like, call shift find files and all that sort of stuff?
I mean, that's kind of the beauty of testing, right? Like, just like the last one, like you didn't even have to think about what methods to call. You were just like, oh, we call read composer file. Oh, we call write composer file.
True. Yeah, that's true. I guess like some of this is like really like kind of implicit, like knowing what it's going to do rather than testing the like input and output of it. It's kind of But,
so I think for the audience though, yes, to talk it out for a second, like we know we're going to need to scan the test folder for test files. We would probably need to then filter those files for anything that's class based, and then once you find those, then we know we can start removing stuff from it.
Yeah. All right. So it expects find files with where's it going to look like? You reckon it should look in just the tests directory or look everywhere?
Probably just tests.
Okay, like the tests.
Yeah. Now, are we just curious? Well, it's your call. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. I'll see if it might break, but we'll see. So in this case, I'm going to return like one fake file. So we'll say like tests. I don't know. Something test. Sorry, I drew a bit of a blank there, but that'll do for now.
That's all right.
All right,
now we don't have a find files on shift. So what
is it called?
What are you after here? What are you thinking we're doing? Are we finding files with like test suffix, or are we just straight up finding any files in here?
No, that's a good point. Probably test suffix, right? Because that's what PHPUnit looks for. So
Can it be configured to do something different though? Is the only thing.
well, it can also
Can't
be
it?
configured to not put things in the tests directory as well. But here
Absolutely,
we are.
absolutely, yeah. Focusing on just the test naming convention though, and not
For now,
necessarily
yeah.
where tests go. You can write a test and have PHPUnit pick it up without a test suffix.
Without the test suffix. I have never done that.
I,
Literally
I
never.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if we want to like jump the gun and start. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. We're not
Yeah.
gonna jump the gun and start supporting that.
Okay. Because like, yeah, I
So
know
my
that the times I've forgotten to add the suffix, it
yeah
doesn't run it, and I'm like, why isn't it running it? And then it's like,
yeah
oh yeah.
yeah. So to that point,
Mhm.
I would say yes, find files, but we don't have that method. We normally this is kind of the one area that Shift is still a little weird. We actually don't have like a find files. We normally just run the straight up Unix find command.
Oh right, okay.
I've made this mistake too though. I've called find files and it's like, here's
Well,
the
this is
files I
like
want.
this is programming by wishful thinking, right? Like I'm
That's
like,
right.
yeah,
And we
surely
should
there's
make
a
this
method called
method,
that.
but we're not going to make it today.
No, okay.
So let's run
So
a command
all right. So
and then write a
like
find command for test folder with test suffix.
so that'll be what, like find
Tests.
tests, and then like I
Uh,
name
I would do
uh
dash type F, so
oh
for
yeah,
only
cool.
files, just in case. And then, yeah, you can do like
I name will be like
star.test.php.
not no dot though.
It's not
I don't need to escape it.
it's not a regex. I think only the
Oh,
star is a
yeah.
wildcard.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So find in the tests
And I
directory.
probably would use a single quoted string there just to avoid any interpolation that would happen at the command line.
All right. So,
So you can either
in
invert
that
them or yeah.
case, I'll convert those.
I forgot.
Those.
What's I? Is that just incasitive? In case.
Yeah.
In case sensitive.
Incasitive. Yeah, it's incasitive. Case insensitive it is, yeah.
Case
I don't know.
insensitive.
My
There's the word I was putting it backwards. In
yeah.
case sensitive. Insensitive
I don't know.
case.
It's my muscle memory. I always type I name.
No, I'm cool with it. I was
Yeah.
making sure because actually I think there's a lot of places in code that I just use dash name.
Cool.
So
All
I
right.
wonder if
So this command is
throw the
it's not going
print
to
on
return an
there if you don't
array,
mind.
is
I
it?
just like being explicit since we're on a bunch of different
like
platforms. I like to end it in dash print. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool. So that's going to return a string, not an array, right?
Yes, it will return a string with
New lines
new lines.
separated.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to return 2 files in this case then.
Yeah, do it.
So I kind of like, the whole here doc stuff. Maybe not the biggest fan.
You're gonna write a here doc for 2 lines. Give me a break.
Yes. Because it's got a new line. That's the thing,
I
right?
hate it. Just use the PHP EOL. Or freaking
Yeah,
write
well.
or implode it. Come on. Implode a small array.
Implode. Okay, fine.
He cracked me up
So-
with those here docs.
I just like them because it's like makes it like what it really is. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Like,
I definitely understand being able to just type the literal stuff and not have to worry about line breaks and stuff. But at the same time, like if we're being technically true to form, like we would need to actually make sure that that's a straight up new line, respective of the system.
Yeah.
Because you could be on Windows right now. I know how much you love Windows.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. Now we'll find. I suppose it doesn't matter if find, because find will probably put an EOL at the very end of it as well, whereas implode will only put it in between all the pieces. But whatever we use to pull it apart again is gonna, it's gonna ignore that last one, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're good there.
Alrighty. So shift expects.
Did you want to add another? I thought you were gonna do 2.
Oh well, that was when. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So something else test.
Well, here let's be a little more real here, just because I think we're gonna get caught up here in a second. Let's do a basic test and then a like with users test. How about that?
With users test. Yeah, all right.
There we go. That way we kind of know where we're aiming here.
Yeah, that sounds good. Alrighty, so after we call that command, what are we thinking it's going to do? It's going to, at some point, it's going to do shift expect get file contents
Good.
with tests basic test and return file get contents test fixtures. All right, let's have a think. This is like a test
have a
fixture
test.
that's a test.
Yeah.
Yep, nice. And this will be a, what would you call it, pest? Just prefix it, or do you want it in a directory?
We're probably gonna have a lot of these. I would go
Yeah.
ahead and make a directory.
All right, so let's say pest converter.
Just pest is
Converter.
fine.
Just pest.
Yeah.
And then this will be our, well, I guess we can give it the same name, right?
Yeah.
Basic
Yeah, that's what I
test
was thinking.
PHP.
Let's just name them straight up.
Sweet. Alrighty.
So
we're then
so
gonna...
just for the audience, keep going, but just for the
Okay.
audience, these tests for tasks, anytime we're starting to manipulate things, we try to be as high level as possible by like writing these little fixtures. And so this is kind of like gives us a before and after. Some people call it like snapshot testing or fixture testing or whatever, before after. So we're not going to worry so much about the details of how this task gets from A to B. It's just going to kind of do this. And so we're just controlling the file IO so we can hook in and be able to say, kind of like we did before with read composer, okay, when you're given this, you're going to give us back this. So
yeah. Cool. So we're expecting it's going to, after it reads the file, it's going to then write the file to the same location at the moment.
Yep.
But it's going the contents are going to be the contents of this after fixture instead of this other one.
Nice.
So we'll define those in a sec. So we're then expecting it's going to do same again for the with users test. So, oops. There we go. So with users test.
Nice. Was that a little macro?
It's a,
or like a recording?
Not really. Like it's using the dot command in Vim, which will like repeat the last thing you did.
Oh,
so
okay.
The last thing I did was like search for a thing and replace it. So then I was like,
Gotcha.
It was like doing like a find and replace in one go.
Gotcha.
All right. So once it does all that,
I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. So like, do we want to put in a case where there's a test that doesn't have anything already? Like it's already a pest test so that it doesn't call put file contents? Like do we want to do like a little thing where it's like, where it's checking just to make sure that it doesn't like needlessly call put file contents when it doesn't need to? Or should we save that for?
No, I'm in total agreement. I'm just trying to think of like what would that be, right? I guess it would be another, like, yeah, maybe if you were already writing pest tests in your, because they can run side by side.
So in this case, we might have like a pest test.
Sure.
Existing pest test.
That's fine, I think, for the purposes of this, but maybe in our fixture, it's just another pest test.
Okay. So this one's going to expect the get file contents with existing pest test. And what did you say you wanted it to be? Another?
I would just say pest test. This might just be like a
okay.
example test, or because we're probably going to have one of these eventually anyway that we could just give it.
Yeah.
So we could just take one, from the homepage of the docs or something.
Yeah, true. So then this one's, we're not expecting it to call put file contents on this because we're going to be citizens
exactly.
and only write the file if we've changed it.
Yeah.
So that's probably that. So we need to like define these fixtures now.
Let's call perform real quick before we forget.
Good call. Good call. This subject perform.
Sweet.
If we run it, then so it's unable to find the fixtures.
You know what I just thought of I don't want to derail us, but once we started talking about already having existing pest tests, I realized you might already, from the dependencies going back, you might already have pest installed. We should probably write a test
good
case
call.
that bails out of that. If it
Yeah,
finds pest already, it's going to assume that you already have everything you need.
good call. So if we were to our pest,
It probably shouldn't assume you have everything you need. It could still remove PHPUnit because the goal when we're done you would be running fully.
yeah. So I mean, we can just do it as a placeholder for now. So we can say,
Yeah.
It handles existing pest installations or something along those lines.
Yeah,
And
you
like,
can just mark
for
it as
now, I can
incomplete.
just literally just, mark test incomplete to do.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so I will add this between the streams, but yeah, we're basically just going to return early if we detect that you already have pest and require dev. It's pretty straightforward.
So I'll just say add to do test.
Yeah, that's fine. We're going to squash merge all this crap when we're done anyway.
Sweet. All right. So back into our class to script test. We've called subject perform. It's now failing because the test itself is actually trying to look for these fixtures. So using Vim, I should be able to jump to this and just start creating a fake test. So this would be like, tests, class basic test extends test case.
Yeah.
And then we'd have like an import for
now, let's just import PHP.
like
I was going to say, let's import the PHPUnit's test case directly here.
Well, the reason I chose this one is because I can never remember what PHPUnit one is called, and because
I know,
this
but
is
I
not
want to.
like. What is
I do want to
like
push the envelope. That's the old school, yeah. We have it in our. Just search our project somewhere. We have it.
Oh, okay. So like literally, if I go back to the test I was in. No.
Well, that one.
This one. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll steal that. So back to our basic test.
Cool.
Use that. Don't need the little slashy. And then I'll just put like a fake test in here, I guess. So public function test the thing. I'm sure you'll rename this later on.
Yeah, we'll build this out because this is probably going to get used for other tasks as well. Yeah, cool.
And then we'll give it an.
We shouldn't need that.
Actually, no, this one doesn't need it because.
Yeah. We'll make a, the point is that this fixture will probably get a mixture of like data providers and weird annotations and some prefix, just to really push the envelope of when we use this in other test cases. So other tasks that we build. But I think for the purposes of this, that's enough of a wrapper.
Yeah, I'd say so. So then the after for this one. So this is where we write what we think it should be afterwards. So we're saying it's going to remove that line.
I would. Oh yeah, sorry, you're doing the after. Yeah.
The after, yeah. So is our expectation at this point that it's going to like delete the line, or it's just going to like remove that and leave the line?
I would delete. There? I would assume that it deletes the class wrapping code.
So like this.
Yeah.
And this.
Yeah.
And that's it.
For that one, yes.
Okay.
It's a little funky, but you got to think of the whole vision.
Yeah. Because like later on, are we going to call like some sort of, like PHP CS fixer or whatever to like fix the indentation and everything?
Probably.
Yeah. And obviously there'll be another task that goes in here and like pulls this out and replaces the underscores with spaces and all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, the test case, all those other ones we talked about a minute ago, like the test case, data provider, helper, like lifecycle methods, all that's going to get. So, to that point, like, I don't know if we're ultimately going to run this first. This may be run last, right? We might
Yeah, fair point.
unbuild the body of the class and then remove what's left. But we do know that whenever we were to run this, this is what will be there.
All right, so I'll flesh out with users one. So I'm just going to go back to our
Well,
basic one and steal that. Or you want to like take over? I can
let's
do
slow
this
down.
real quick.
Hold on. Let's slow down a second.
Want to go faster?
If we, I'm just thinking about that for a second. If we were, as we're writing the test, it does help me think of the implementation, kind of like we talked about. So seeing that before and after now and the code we're about to write to make that happen, it's starting to make me think, is that the way we want to go? Okay, so to the point, do we want to try to edit this file in line, which could be super annoying, right? Because we're going to be using static analysis on this file. So if we start stripping things out like this,
if we make it not valid
it's
PHP anymore,
it's
then we
going to be
lose.
invalid PHP, which means it's not going to be able to be
No
parsed
more
into a syntax tree. So what I'm wondering is, as we talked about a little bit ago, instead of remove, do we extract the body of this and make a .pest version of this file?
Okay. So
instead of this, what would end up happening is you would still have all these fixtures, but instead of the after fixture, it would kind of be what we just saw, but it's like a copy. It's not saved to the same file.
We're expecting the put file contents to be like, the temporarily .pest, right?
Yeah, or just a pest extension.
Yeah.
Instead of .php, like, because we control the parser, like it doesn't matter. But anyway, the point is like, I wonder, if we did something like that, it doesn't. Then you're kind of flipped the other way when you go to try to parse that. You're not going to be able to. You'd have to then remove at least the visibility on the class stuff. But I mean, technically speaking, that is the class wrapper bit. Crap. Yeah, it's kind of a chicken egg problem, which I think we should, instead of trying to beat the clock, I think we should just spend the last 5 minutes thinking out a plan of attack there.
Okay. So if we look at like our basic test, and we can kind of go to the basic test after.
Uh-oh.
Your camera's overheated. Oh, I think your mic's dropped as well. JMac's mic is plugged into his camera, so often when his camera dies, so does his audio. But he'll be back soon.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
I'm going dark. I'm gone dark.
Gone dark? Yep. JMac has gone dark.
I'm gone dark for the last 5 minutes. This is the voice of JMac.
Hey, my camera's about to run out of battery, so
well,
we'll both go dark soon.
All right, we truly have 3 minutes before all the wheels fall off. So hey, let's figure this out for a second. We need to figure out a path through of how we could start kind of systematically making the new pest test, but yet keeping the file parsable, like valid PHP syntax.
Is it worth like just looking at this class here and making like the pest version of it so that we kind of know what the steps are in our heads?
I think maybe not the pest version of it, but at least a parsable PHP version. So right now we can already see the red X there.
Yeah, so we can get rid of like that.
And then it's not going to
now
work.
This is angry.
Is that truly a syntax error though? Or is it just cool?
It's IntelliFence.
Run it through PHP-L. I'm just curious.
All right, let me see if I can be clever about this. PHP-L and then the current file. syntax errors. Okay.
Throw the public back in just for fun. I mean, I know that's nasty, but I'm just curious.
That's a good sanity check to make sure that my little.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. I expect to check in public.
So technically, if we did unwrap the class by removing the class wrapper and then any visibility on methods
Yep.
and any use statements that are traits, which we were going to do anyway,
Yep.
we would be left
Do we
with
want to? Is it worth removing the use statement for the class that was being extended? That's no longer.
we may not know that 100% yet. So I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no, because we just don't know yet.
Does this like represent our like current after step, like our intermediary still
I think
possible
so.
step? Okay.
I think so. I hear what you're saying about the import. Let's leave it though, just for a second.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think if we were left with this, we know it's parsable, and I think it's still within the realm of what it means to kind of convert something from a class to a file. Like if you were doing this with anything, forget Pest, if you were doing this with any PHP class, you would need to do at least this to make that conversion complete.
Yeah. And so like this is obviously our basic test. So I'm guessing we'll probably have a more like kitchen sink test where we'll have, some protected variables on here.
That's the other thing, like the properties and all that stuff. I'm gonna have to think on that.
Like in that case, that would end up there as just like blah equals test. But like this obviously isn't gonna work.
I think we'll have to look up like how that actually looks in Pest, like how are like our shift and log and subject things like shared.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're just global through setup, but like, yeah, might need to read up on that. Okay, so considering our cameras are out and we are pretty much at the hour anyway, let's stop it here. I'll probably do a live stream this afternoon to try to catch up and make these bits pass, but at least Jess can throw up a whip of what she has and we'll keep going from there. So
this will be.
So I'll still need to make a couple fixtures, but I think we'll make those happen this afternoon.
Awesome.
Sweet. All right. Well, we will pair again on Thursday, and like I said, I will probably try to do a live stream this afternoon to finish up a couple of these pieces.
Cool stuff. All right, that was fun.
All right. See you, audience.
See ya.